Professor Benjamin Washington here. Hello, this is Professor Benjamin Washington. Copyrighted 2023 e.Celi all rights reserved. We have to kind of like do our opening circle. Whoever's out there. Copyrighted 2023 April 14th. e.Celi all rights reserved. Just wanted to see us signing up. Anybody's out there? Here we're just starting. Again, we're gonna open the circle pretty soon. I'm just trying to find the visual effects. Facebook, Instagram Live. Anybody out there? We're on Instagram Live. Oh, so Fear Breeze. Who is that? That is me. Let me see. We usually start with the open circle, and we usually say the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer is usually the opening to open the circle, and then at the end we close the circle. So what we do. Instagram Live in character as Professor Benjamin Washington. Yeah, Professor Benjamin Washington. Yeah, it's a tough journey taking care of my elderly mom, and in the process trying to tell our story here in Stanislaus County, telling our life, what we're doing, trying to survive as artists, and encouraging other artists to do the same. Just kind of like help each other out. You know, life as an artist is not easy. And so I tell everybody, you know, teamwork makes it easier when you work with a team. But a creative guy, I create all these characters. And I created this one character about me, Professor Benjamin Washington. All right. So since there's still not a whole lot of viewers, let's just say the opening prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, holy is thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Hi. And usually we do the Star Spangled Banner, the National Anthem 1.0. But I've upgraded to National 2.0, Anthem 2.0. And if you believe in National Anthem 2.0, I'd encourage other artists or people that are watching this Facebook Live or Instagram Live to start teaching people how to sing the Star National 2.0, inclusive the preamble of the U.S. Constitution. And it goes like this. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, oh, what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, yeah, so here we go. Oh, yeah, we got one viewer on one camera. 1948. Aloha. Yeah, this is a weekly Pacific Standard Time 8 p.m. show. We usually talk about the past, the present, and the future. And let me see. Oh, past week, like just being, you know, whenever I get the break, I go to my coffee. I make my Tuesday watch movies like Mario Brothers and what else do I watch? Other shows. Let's see. $1948. Hey. All right. So let's see. So past week, so I do. Sometimes I make it to the Routes and Goat, mm, but I rarely go there. No, I mean, I randomly go there when I get a break. Um, but so I was looking at my old video archives, and Professor Benjamin Washington um, is a character I created, and it's more into the politics, the taxpayers, um, people that are citizens that pay taxes, and of course the preamble of the U.S. Constitution. It's more applicable than ever, and it should always be part of the preamble should always be part of the Star Spangled Banner. People when they sing the Star Spangled Banner, I believe that anytime you do a game or a project, or you involve people, we the people, that the Constitution, the singing to the flag should include the preamble of the U.S. Constitution. You know, if you make if you involve people in the U.S., you always have to sing the preamble and the national anthem together as national anthem 2.0. And so I've encouraged that in the past, and I encourage it because, in the 1870s, the 15th Amendment, imagine men that are not of people of color, they weren't allowed to vote. Meet men, people of color, and the thing about white and black, or white versus people with copper skin or dark skin, they segregated that in the late 1600s. It was never about black or white. It was only about, in the United States, it was only about indigent servants, people paying their debt by doing labor. And those that were criminals that migrated from Europe in the U.S., they had a chance to rebuild their life, and not, they were still indigent servants. They remain servants. When they go back to Europe, they're looked at as criminals. But later in the late 1600s in the U.S., before the 1776, apparently these rich white businessmen, they created this labor and then started segregating dark skin from light skin, and eventually they made it black and white. So there are Indians that are white looking. There are products of interracial marriage, and when the kids look more white, they wind up being labeled white. But they could be siblings, they could be brothers and sisters, and one looks more dark skin versus one looks more lighter skin, and so they started segregating black and white from the 1700s, 1800s, and but 1870, they said, black men should have an ability to vote. But even that, in the 1870, women had no right to vote. So mentioning 1870, there's a startup brewery here in Modesto, California, on J Street, 911 J Street, called 1870 Brewery. And I was fascinated because the women, The owner was a mom and daughter. They were just two women. The mom, but the daughter is really the brewmaster. And I told her in the 1870s, Annie Oakley was beating all these gunfighters or gunslingers. And I said, "You 1870 was in the 1870s was a year of you know political requirement, and they needed black voters. So the 15th Amendment USA Constitution happened, and that's why I was surprised when I stumbled on this business on J Street, 911 J Street, near Rouse and Goat and near my Mimosas in Modesto, California. And it's just fascinating. It's woman owned, and 1870, I don't know if that's their intention, but it was post Civil War, I believe, 1870s, but it was also black men were allowed to vote and choose a leader for the United States, and politics came in. They needed black voters to vote, and the Civil War just ended, and Emancipation Proclamation. So Professor Benjamin Washington, I'm always encouraging people to do their research, not just what's put out on Google or some of these Khan Academy, some of these online sites. They're educational, but sometimes they're bogus, meaning, he who victors tells a story. And from a point of view of the Europeans, and European colonies like India, they tend to go for the European, history in the USA European, and it's all dominant by the European point of view. But if you do a more deeper research of pre-Hispanic Mexico or pre-Hispanic mound builders in the Americas, you will know that there were more civilized, advanced people in this continent, the United States of America. But unfortunately, hey, Althea, how you doing? This is Professor Benjamin Washington. We had another viewer out there. So I'm just trying to, we have to look at the past, study the past politics, the past racism, leaders that made an effort to end slavery, which was in the 1870s. Slavery was being abolished, but there are still people in the South that wear the Confederate flag. They still are sore losers, and they still want to, and you can see this in movies and TV shows, Hollywood movies. One of my favorite is Gone with the Wind. An awesome actor. He has dimples. He's the king of Hollywood, Clark Gable, and it was one of the best storytelling from a point of view of the South. Now, there's many point of views from the North. The blues versus the gray. A lot of John Wayne movies. He played both sides as a Confederate or as a Yankee. So politics in the 1870s, the 15th Amendment is an important for people of color, black people especially, dark-skinned people. If you don't go to that brewery, it's I asked that brewery, hey, can you import San Miguel beer, or can you import Red Horse? I like the strong beer, I like that lager, the way Manila makes it. But they don't have it here in Modesto. At least the breweries here, they're locally formulated. They make their own local formula. But I shared the the owners are women, a girl. And I told you, I want you to succeed because the 19th Amendment, it didn't happen until the 1900s, late, mid 1900s. And even that, even today, women owned businesses and women CEOs are very rare. I mean, in advanced technology, in leadership roles, you rarely see women CEOs, but they're there. It's just, unfortunately, Hollywood doesn't. Uh, there's no scripts for CEO, female CEO. Or maybe there's a few, but not as like a steady every. You know, they have this show called Mom. You know, it's about all these females, white females. You know, mom, and a daughter. Because and it's very funny. It's a show, but all I can say is these two women in Modesto on the 1870 brew. It's on 911 J Street. 911, you won't forget that. J Street. And I witnessed them, mom and daughter. I go, wow, it's like me and my mom, but I'm a guy, mom and son. I'm taking care of my elderly mom, but I can see the CEO. She's the Bridge of Love. I call her Bridget. That's her name. And she told me, just call her mom. And so we go to that place. I go to that place, when I have the time, but I always ask for San Miguel beer or Red Horse. I was always teasing her. But they're slowly making some strong beer. They have a menu. If you check them out, 18, 18brew.com, Modesto, California. So it's a girl owned and very few business owned, female business owned. The other business owned, there's a female and a team. Is the Secret Garden. It was formerly Ridgeway Run. It's now called the Secret Garden. And that's where I do, like drink coffee and have a little dinner there if I get hungry. But there's karaoke starting at 7:30, and sometimes I go there if I can when I get some break or relief from my siblings that come and follow up on their elderly mom, our mother. So that's been my past, as well as I've been wanting to shoot a music video. Um, Lucky Woman was the song title. I've already asked the actress to be the model, and maybe a few. It's genre Western country, outlaw type. Here in Stanislaus County, there was just the rodeo, Rodeo. Oakdale, California is the cowboy capital of the United States and the world. So if you ever look up where the cowboy capital of the world, there's a cowboy museum, and there's so rodeos. They have it. They kind of have it every early April, which is it's still chilly. Early April. Last week, or they should make it May. Rodeo should always be May, not April. April, it's celebration of Easter and have people get back to God, the church. Anyways, so that's been the past. I did visit a dance bar that's been here for a long time called Crocodiles. My sister was here last week. Uh, a while back, she bumped into this. I believe she said that it could be her knight in shining armor, and when you find or you bump into someone, you dance, and then you really never had shared any contacts, or never, just two strangers, not really ships in the night where you expect nobody. Was like a bump and go. It's like a bump and go, but you wish you want to keep bumping. Althea, I haven't even, I mean, in person, I haven't really uh, met Althea in person. But I am working on music video projects. It's just balancing between my elderly mom and my, tax American taxes are due, and then balancing all these, and I'm disciplining and trying to set up a system that would really get these things done. But my caregiver type skills for my mom, I'm still learning. I mean, she treats me like a little boy all the time, and it's frustrating because in her mind, I'm just a little boy. And she gets dementia. Sometimes she forgets or whatever. But I tell her, Mom, you know, I love you. I'm here. That's the reason why. I'm your handsome son. But, anyways, as a professor, you have to do your research, your homework, and it takes a lot of, before you write a script or a story, you have to have a good research on that. And in the particular area of politics, American politics, and, like creating voters or denying voters. I mean, there's a news about these two black men in Tennessee that were ousted from, and they're people's choice. They represent a people, and then you exclude them from being part of the Congress of Tennessee. It's just ridiculous how when America still, there's still stubborn people that, America needs a what you call equity, and it begins with content in Hollywood and content in New York Broadway, and those are playwrights in Broadway, New York Broadway, and screenplay or television plays or screenplays in Hollywood. Because actors in LA get trained and stuff, but then they go, when they want to win a Tony, they go to New York. Tony is a live show theater, live performance show. That's how you can only win a Tony Award when you perform on a playwright in theater. And the union for that is Actors Equity. Equity. These are union actors. If you want to, be treated respectfully, you go to New York, join the Equity, but you have to be a theater person. So you start first at your community. But the topic of politics, women, politics and women, people of color in politics and women. It's getting better, in California, but other states, it's still run by a bunch of old folks, Republican, white male, old school, conservative. That's good. Conservatism, sometimes you got to be careful. You got to remember the past. You got to remember World War II, World War One. You got to remember Vietnam War. You got to remember incidents, so not to repeat them. But unfortunately, USA always winds up in these situations where there are stubborn nations that refuse to abide by the way U.S. Constitution is set up for the Bill of Rights, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the First Amendment. Because the First Amendment really it really makes and made the 15th Amendment happen. Now, if you have a nation that kills and destroys the First Amendment, the Bill of Rights of any citizen or rights of a human being, then the 15th Amendment would have never had happened without the First Amendment. And speaking of that, in the Philippines, the USA let them go in 1976 because they didn't like dark skin. They were doing late 1946 to 1950s. They were doing this eugenics. They banned and they sterilized women of color, black, brown, red, yellow. They just totally refused and controlled population of dark skin or people of color. And that's how they did. They sterilized, eugenics. How do you know? Well, there was this scientist, a female scientist named Sanger, that had these algorithms to determine, um, and how to create, do something with the embryo and her science. But she was a white supremacist type of a person. Most of the scientists have this white supremacy type mentality, Darwin mentality, missing link, that any people that are dark skinned, they, politically, they are not capable in their mindset. They're not, you know, they're not human beings, or, that's the mentality until up to, shoot, I don't know, until Nelson Mandela, 1990s. I, I don't know. I mean, even to now, like I said, during the Trump's 4 years, oh my God, black people, they just totally, even though Kanye West was speaking up for Trump, but there were still ongoing racism, ongoing hate. A lot of black, dark skinned people get shot at. Still, the what you call the law of hanging, lynching, it didn't happen until like late last year, or no, early last year, or yeah, the lynching law was still in place. You could lynch any person of color or non-USA born. If they are, lynching is still in 2022. The movie still till Till. If you watch that movie, at the end of the credits, I go, me and a friend of mine, Ronald Jones, we went to watch a movie together. He treated me for some reason. I go, hey, Ronald, man, I always come here. I watch movies, new movies, and we shared a seat close. And then at the end of the movie, I go, bro, can you believe that? The lynching law was just abolished this year. That was 2022. Can you believe that? But again, Easter happened. And Easter, they always say, oh, Babylon, Ishtar. But, the Catholic, the Roman Empire, just trying to standardize their way. So Constantine tried to set up a better system and favor Italy. That's the interest. Well, Italy and Constantinople. That's they converted Catholic, or they were originally Christians, but they've set up this Roman flavor of the Christian way of doing things, and that was on 333 A.D. after death, or after resurrection. 303. So about 300 years of Christians, spreading the gospels, Easter, but they changed, modified, and so today with information, tomorrow. I mean, so this yesterday, politics and human to human interaction. The way the U.S. Constitution was set up was because a lot of them were Christians. They looked at how they treat one another. That's what Christianity means. How you treat your brother or a person, brothers or sisters. Yes, the writing white dominating world, there were women leaders in the Christian faith too, but they, white male or whoever these had access to these information, they favored the male, but in other kingdoms, there were women that were queens. They were the sole leader. They were the heir. England has women leaders, women, but United States, because of this male-dominated white male business male dominated past, and they're trying to bring it up. They're trying to bring a guy like Trump to be like, you know, Andrew Jackson. Oh, he was terrible to the indigenous people of the East Coast. It was called the Trail of Tears, and that was mentioned in elementary. Well, in elementary, junior high, elementary, and above in Mountain View, California. That's where I went elementary, but I didn't think much about it at the time because most of the past education in the United States, and it's still is the favor of the European history, how the Europeans came to this continent. But as you get older, you do more research. You want to write stories about your family, because people always ask where you come from. Well, when you have Asian ancestry, European ancestry, and California indigenous ancestry, you get asked, especially if you're not white. You always so you do your research, you do your storytelling, and reverse the he who victors tells the story. We're not victors. We're still men of our image. Even professors and research scientists in the research labs of the United States, the academia, a high percentage of them are men of Mongoloidic image or brown or scientist yellow men, American men that are more in the research lab behind the scenes. And so I'm just saying that the foreground, they're not favored by women, American women, whether it be like a white woman would favor black or white guys, and Bruce Lee, Asian guys, but Asian women or Native women, they prefer not their own kind. That's, they prefer a well-established white male businessman, like Mark Zuckerberg, his wife, because he had issues with his own kind. White males, women, they get divorced. White women become single moms. You can see the politics of gender issues in the United States. It's not just color. It's just not race. It's also gender issue. And so Asian women in America, they love a rich white guy or a rich black guy. And high percentage are in the sports. I just watched, I just mentioned this past. It's about Michael Jordan, about how the white businessmen changed the shoes. The Air Jordan, the story of how Air Jordan and how it made Michael Jordan rich by endorsing the shoe, but the shoe is based on him. So I'm saying that you get all these advertisement, and so beautiful white women love Tiger Woods. They love all these basketball because they're filthy rich. Today, black men have been well marketed since the 15th Amendment. It took a long time, but black men, Negroids, and I keep telling them, Negroids are not just from Africa. Whoever programmed, black people, that black people have, sure, there's more black people in Africa, but there are black people in New Guinea, in Asia, in the Pacific Rim. And what I've learned in Manila, Professor Benjamin Washington here, been trying to I've done research, and I discovered that, slave trade, the Manila Galleon in the 1520s and up, they were bringing slaves from Asia. And at the time, the Portuguese and the Italians and the Spanish, they were already enslaving. Labor was already a big business for them. And so they would grab these people from the, 1492 from the continent of the Americas, and also 1520s, the Pacific Rim. They would grab these families and they become servants for life. And if you don't believe me, there's the operation of Virgen de Guadalupe. And the guy that became a saint in the Catholic Church was Juan Diego. He was a indigenous, now what, dark skin. And the Latin culture, the Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, then they would just always perceive Indios as servants, and white women mess around with them but would never say hey. But there are a lot of mestizos, product of white Spanish men, white Italian men, white, making babies with indigenous women, whatever they're at, whatever port they're at. All right, those was past politics. But today, Air Jordan, black sports athletes. If you marry a black man with being in a sports, NBA, NFL, they all make good money for their advances today. Like I said, unlike the 1870 black, they just wanted them to vote for the political gain. All right, so that was the past and the present. I'm just taking care of my elderly mom. My mom is priority. So I get to do more research. I get to do more reading, more quality time at home. And for those that miss me, that I'm not going to their events, my mom's my priority. And if you, hey, Teller Crows, hello, you're on there. Hey, anyways, I just talking about if you're a person of color, if you're a black man, and you haven't gone to the 1870 brew in 911 J Street, you're bullshit, man. You don't know your history. You go vote and help women become CEOs, become more leaders, and become political leaders to replace these 46 presidents, one black guy, 44th, and one really old guy today. He's, the second Catholic president, present time. I mean, he's holding the fort. He's trying to make peace with everybody, but those losers, sore losers like the Civil War, those Confederates and those today's Proud Boys, sore losers, and they still want Trump back. I don't know. All I can say is America's funny because we have all these freedoms. People in the United States, we can shit talk anybody. We can shit talk the president. We can shit talk the local mayor. The local council. We can shit talk. We talk shit about shit. People talk about shit about the Chris Murphy, the Modesta View print guy. He's putting his heart and soul promoting American graffiti, keeping the history of, but I put him in check because you totally forgot Manuel Padilla Jr. He was part of the American graffiti, the only Chicano in that movie. So I put some of these white guys in Modesto because they always ask me, where you from? Where you at? I'm trying to tell them, The vaqueros, the cowboys in Modesto, they were, this Mexico. This used to be Mexico. The cowboys here, cowboys in Texas, they were all, the Spanish word for cowboys is vaqueros. But in Japanese, that's a different meaning. But in Spanish, vaqueros are cowboys. So don't tell me that cowboys are only white dudes. Cowboys are, and same thing with Indians. Don't tell me Indians are just brown or yellow, Mongoloidic. They were black Indians. They were black indigenous blacks already in the U.S., already in this continent. But because they were all dark skinned, they put them all with the black African slaves. They said they're all from Africa. It's just ridiculous. If you study and research as a professor, you have to do your homework. You got to go research, go to the old public library. In Los Angeles is the biggest library in California, where you can do your own patent and trademark. In LA, there used to be one here in Northern California in Sunnyvale area. There used to be a patent library, and do deep research on trademarks, patents, and stuff. Because, like Tesla, what's his name? The guy from South Africa, Mr. Elon Musk, who went to a college in Canada and then transferred to the Silicon Valley. He did his research and his homework, and he looked at these old patents and all these trademarks, and he looked at Tesla's patents that were, credited to the greatest inventor, Thomas Edison. But he didn't really work on those inventions. Thomas Edison utilized men like Tesla, all right? Croatian guy or somewhere in Europe that had powerful, innovative ideas. And patent and trademark office, you can look at even the oldest patents, because some of these stuff you can still reuse and refurbish and make it something. And back in the 1990s, I was warning the research lab, academia, if the patent and trademark office is accessed by other nations like China, they can just download all these patents, old patents, and sure enough, some idiot made it all available worldwide. And so guess what? Communist China is grabbing every patent, every idea in the U.S. patent trademark library. And what's funny too is when I was in UC Berkeley, setting up their, transmission connection to, at the time I worked for Sprint Labs Laboratory Research for Communications, Fiber Optics, and they connected the research lab in Berkeley. But right next to Berkeley, there's this little office of German engineers from Germany directly grabbing the newest and greatest information from these academia, which are research lab, meaning advanced research academia, people that work on their graduate degrees, masters and PhDs. They get access of the newest and latest innovation, right? And so when Germany and Japanese engineers or researchers, from cloning to software AI, they're way ahead. Engineering, Germany already got this stuff way before they manufacture it in the U.S. Same thing with China. When I was in a research kind of world, R&D, that's Professor Benjamin Wash. There was only like 300 of us engineers in the U.S., PhD. I'm not a PhD. I'm only a bachelor's or growing up in the Silicon Valley. But I do my homework. I always go read. My parents, my mom, dad, they couldn't put me to Stanford University or Berkeley because their priorities were just working and gambling. That's the culture of workers in Silicon Valley. Or in the fields and the farms. Like Cesar Chavez and Larry. They hard labor. Because like I said, since the 1520s, people of my were either farm workers, farm laborers, slaves, Juan Diego type servants. But when I'm a generation where I grew up in the Silicon Valley and I was exposed to, like in sixth grade, science fair, inventions. We were, that's one of the greatest things about USA schools, inventions. They teach that to you, science fairs in elementary. And you can even write your own thesis, even though you're not a master's or PhD. But, I don't know, my parents didn't encourage me or a few of us. I think only my sister Yolanda has a master's degree. But my other siblings, they just graduated high school or dropped out and just worked. Because there's always work. It's not professor like I did. In fact, when I worked for Sprint Labs, I was working for this Taiwanese imported engineer. That's why Sprint or the corporate America bring in engineers from Germany or Asia, either Taiwan or Hong Kong. They're cheap, PhD, height, mind power, intelligent, but terrible in human rights, terrible in, and that's corporate America. They hire these imported, educated at the graduate level here in the U.S., but they have no clue about kids learning STEM, which is inventors, show and tell, So today, as a professor or as involved in research and in development, information, the academia, if you get to a master's and PhD in the field that you're in, whatever the advancement, they look ahead at 5 to 10 years on that particular field. If you are in like computer science, there are advanced research in academia that already looks at what's going to be deployed 10 years from now. So if you are a nation like China, you want to, which they're over thing now, USA, because they have access of all these patent and trademarks. But the two libraries that I know of is in New York and in Los Angeles. I think it's on 5th Street, but you can Google that. So if you want to do advanced research on your own without relying on a corporate America, I had to leave Sprint because they just want to solve telecommunication problems. I'm more into the human problem solving with improving telecommunications, improving computer equipment or science to help the human person. So today I just like I went to the 99-cent store and bought this young white dude. His teeth are his long hair, a very handsome guy, but I go, what happened, dude? He goes, I got kicked out of your place. What happened, man? Apparently, yes, it's human to human types of situations that put a person, regardless of race, white dude, black dude, it doesn't matter. Unfortunately, if you don't have a good circle of friends, if you wind up with haters instead of helpers, you're gonna you know you're gonna be set back, and so you figure your way until you figure your way. But some of those dudes that are out there homeless or trying to hustle, they can do harm to themselves as well as to others. And you need to help counselors or guys like me, because I did that too. I mean, I'm a practicing Templar Knights, and that's our job, to help others. It's a Christian way, and like I said again, that's the American way, the way of the good Americans, like Audie Murphy. Good Americans, real, uh, you know, genuine heroes. Roy Rogers, Western. That's why I watch a lot of cowboys and Indian movies in the INSP or the Grit, GRIT channel, or INSP. Woo, so many have joined since I've been yapping away. Um, so bullets, yeah. There's aloha. Thank you for joining this. I usually have what do you call it? Oh wow, it's been an hour almost. Um, Again, this is Professor Benjamin Washington, trying to share the wisdom and the strength of the United States of America, its inventions, innovations, how other nations can grab these patent and trademark online, and whatever their environment is, you can upgrade your local barrio, local barangay. You can just download these. How do you make a water pump? How do you make electricity from rain? How do you make, there are all these inventions that have already been gone through in the U.S. Every city, like Chicago, like elevators, and all these inventions are available to be seen. You can go to a public library, like LA's public library, or any public library, but you look at how, and you can do it. Unfortunately, third world countries like the Philippines, they don't have libraries in their every barangay. They should have libraries to say, how do you grow so and so? How do you find, everything should be there. Oh yeah, everything now is online, Google, but they change some information, like Khan Academy. They're telling the story about the origins of stuff, but then it's incorrect, because that's the information they got from somebody that doesn't really know or have done their research like I do, Professor Benjamin Washington. All right? You call me Mr. Professor. I don't know if you ever watched the reruns of Gilligan's Island. I prefer the Professor. Gilligan was funny. And anyways, comedy today is important. Writing today is important. But the Broadway, Tony Awards, the playwright, that's important for every USA local people. And the same thing in other countries. The process of telling the real story will improve, evolve people to people. USA is near heaven, like I tell everybody. The United States is near heaven. It still has spoiled people that might cause problems. In any country, when you have a spoiled brat or a spoiled person, they're the troublemakers in that little town, little village. It's not the humble people they stay quiet. That's the problem with little towns. They don't speak up and point out, hey, unlike here in the United States, when you see something wrong in your neighborhood, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. No. You inform the authorities, right? When someone is doing something out of the ordinary in your they have what you call neighborhood watch in the United States. Oh, there was this one incident early this week. A 13-year-old, joyride a car and killed two mother and daughter, or mother and grandson, or grandchild, or something like that. And they're trying to prosecute this 13-year-old for like an adult. But no, that is not the problem. Even the 13-year-old's parents are not the problem. The problem, if you study all these local situations, local drama, problems in the United States, it's about spoiling the child, right? Right? Because the child protection services, if you know about the child protection, if you know about family law, if you research family law, how families are divided up and situation, they take these children to put them in foster parents. But if you're a parent and you're loving your child and you spoil your child, the child is going to take a car and, you can't, you as a parent cannot spank the child. You cannot discipline the child because CPS, family law, the court system are treating the parents, especially like the fathers, very wrong. That's why that case recently, the 13-year-old that joyride a car, a 13-year-old spoiled probably, or cannot be disciplined because the family courts, threatens the parents to be in, and that's what happens. Family law, family court. So many parents are afraid of what CPS will do if you discipline your child. And that's been a dilemma. And so that 13-year-old that went on a joyride may have not been fully disciplined, from age 5 and up. Because age 5 and up, the mindset of children, again, professor here again, the mindset of 5-year-olds, they are slowly becoming independent. They have slowly are thinking, learning, free thinking. They started, so if you don't warn them, don't touch that outlet. Don't touch that. It's going to electrocute you. Don't jump at the coffee table. Don't, parental guidance, parental disciplining is of value. But unfortunately, when a child like a 13-year-old joyrides, takes off with your car, and you can't discipline the child because you get threatened by family law, child protection services, these are the cause and the effects. Wow, man. Okay, this is my first session as Professor Benjamin Washington. All right, so family, high tech, colleges, universities, but it all begins at elementary. Like I said, by the time you're in 3rd grade, you should be able to read and write. All right, I got to get going. We're going to close the circle. Thank you for listening. So future-wise, we're going to talk about politics. By 2024, we should have a female candidate, whether it be a Democrat or Republican or independent. Vote for the female candidate. Or another black president. I'm sick and tired of these white presidents that screwed many indigenous people, I'm not racist or anything. It's just white women, you need white women leaders. That's all. And these white women or women, when you raise a child that is a white, you teach that white kid how and why Dr. Martin Luther King happened in the 60s, how Cesar Chavez happened, so that the white men of the past that stole the Hawaiian kingdom from a queen. Again, teach your sons to be more of equity. This is my advice in the future. If you are a mother, if you're a single mom, and you're a white woman producing a white child, same thing now with the black kids. They're spoiled also. They're millionaires. You know, if they're in baseball, whatever, they have better opportunities than before. So make sure they don't become like those greedy assholes that stole this continent, stole Hawaii, you know, mistreated women. They couldn't vote until the 19th Amendment, you know. So I've had enough of these white president male in the United States. Vote for a people of color president, or a Native American president, or a woman, any woman. We need a woman leaders to make the United States equity. And of course, I as a storyteller, if you write a screenplay, teleplay, cast it with red, white, and blue heroes, red man, white man, black man, heroes, and red man, white man, black man, bad guys. That's it. Good guys versus bad guys. That's it. Make it inclusive. Make it, make your content be where your sons and nephews, white males, black males, when they see a movie today, or produced from my Professor Benjamin's advice, they will see themselves. They have every right to choose what they want to be, a bad guy or a black guy. Oh, excuse me, a good guy. Good guys are black. I'm saying. All I can say is end this greed and protect the U.S. government from outsiders like China. It's going to be the number one economy, but it's been trespassing in the West Philippine Seas. They've been, taking advantage of their weaker neighbors. Fishing grounds are for, fishing men, Filipino fishing men, Vietnamese fishing men on that area. But China's saying it's all ours. It could be yours if you pay, but they don't. But yeah, protect the United States Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, because when China or these other nations like Russia, when they are more powerful than the United States of America, our First Amendment, our Bill of Rights, will be taken away. Oh my goodness, you don't want that. I mean, if you're in a government like Philippines, it pretends it was the United States, and then 1946, 1947, the corrupt people took over, and it brought it down to degrading it and become a third world. It used to be a USA, first world. And then it dropped because corrupt men took over, and they don't even abide by the Constitution. The First Amendment is equivalent to the U.S. Amendment, but that's our battleground. We have to protect USA. I mean, same thing with Iraq or Iran, Afghanistan. USA left, boom, guess who took over right away? Corrupt men. Women have no right. That's why USA is important, and women leadership is important. We have to show that the United States have capable women to become president of the United States. I have a daughter, I have nieces, nephews. I pray that my fight as Professor Benjamin Washington, that a woman president is going to happen in my lifetime, and maybe yours. And you could be the president someday. And you can say, hey, I watched that little Instagram live. He does it every Friday. Now he's in the character of Professor Benjamin Washington. I'm not Mr. Know-It-All. I just read what's all known in the public library, in the libraries of the United States. That's what makes Americans the best in the world, is because kids can go to their elementary library. The elementary school teaches the kids how to use the library. That's it. Once you finish third grade and know how to read and write, you can use today's online research. Every library now have these advanced digital images of books, and you can go through those books. That's how I found out. There's a couple of people on YouTube that are doing that. They got digital books of old books that talk about the 1600s USA, And a lot of YouTube are now sharing what happened in the 1500s, the 1600s. They disclose all the details now. But the library is always there. After third grade, even if you drop out, if you know how to use and know how to read and write, you can become a professor. Benjamin Washington. All right, I got to close the circle. I went a little OT, 15 minutes. So we opened the circle with the Lord's Prayer. It's Matthew chapter 6, and it's always sung in a radio station KLOVE.com. Andrea e.Celi, he sings it. Sings it with the prayer and the Lord's Prayer, and a lot of singers, vocalists, they sing. But in a Catholic church, I suggest everybody, to learn how the Catholics, how their mass. You can watch St. Joseph Catholic Church. They put it on online. You can watch on YouTube Live the mass. And you can learn the beginning, middle, and end of a mass of a Catholic church. You don't have to be a Catholic. You can just learn, the beginning of the mass at the end of the mass. It's a script, and they've been doing this for over 2,000 years since Emperor Constantine. But before Emperor Constantine, the Roman Empire, the pagans, they would kill Christians. Anyways, so closing it is with the Lord's Prayer. Beginning it is the Lord's Prayer. And then after the Lord's Prayer is the Star-Spangled Banner. Right? First in, first out. FIFO. You know what a FIFO is. Okay? First, information. FIFO. No, it's not a FIFO. It's actually philo. First in, last out. That's how you enter the circle and then you close the circle. All right? So it's a philo. First in, last out. All right? Because my work, my job is spiritual warfare. It's it's Filipino martial arts, or I call it Maharlika. We're not, Ophirian. We're not, that the word Filipino is from Europe, from Spain. The Spain, the Mexican, the New Spain, they renamed places that they acquired, they stole. All right? And that's their name. But the way we name it, Maharlika, Hofir, these are way before Tenochtitlan, that the name of Mexico was called Tenochtitlan. All right? So, inter, outer, right? Like the omega symbol. Omega. Right? The alpha and the omega. The beginning and the end. All right, so we talked about the past, we talked about the present, and we talk about the future, bouncing back in the past and the future. So that's Friday Reds. And today, little OT in April. Again, April Rose. Oh, before I do the Philo low, I want a cappella my dad's song uh, on the movie with Jennifer Jones and actor William Holden and Jennifer Jones. You know, I just realized my mom kind of looks like when my mom was young, kind of looks like Jennifer Jones. No wonder my dad sung this song. It's about an April rose, early rose, and the song I performed it. Love is a many splendid thing, and I understand now why my dad, because my mom kind of looks like Jennifer Jones. Even my nieces and my nephew, I mean, my nieces and my cousins in Australia and in the Philippines, and some of my siblings, my sisters, they they have that profile of Jennifer Jones. If you look at Jennifer Jones, actress, and the movie Love Is a Many Splendid Thing, I also, actor James Hong, who recently won an award by Michelle Yeoh and KQ, whatever, all the Jamie Lee Curtis, that movie they won. And James Hong was in that movie, had a bit part in Love Is a Many Splendid Thing. But as a professor, you know, you can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give the playlist of Professor Benjamin Washington that I did way back when I was in LA, trying to pursue the journey of an actor. And Pedro Pascal. Oh, his journey was hard, as was mine. But he had a supporter, girl, gals supported him, kept him alive, fed him, gave him some money for food. Because it's not an easy journey for actors, especially the accented ones like Pedro Pascal. But he's the next Antonio Banderas. Oh, I can say that. Antonio Banderas is still there, but Pedro Pascal's been around for a long time. But he can remake a lot of the old classic Zorro and all the Spanish uh, Chicano movies. Whatever Edward James almost what do you call it? So I'm gonna perform this a cappella. Love is a many splendid thing before I go, and then I'll do the Lord's Prayer or the National Anthem 2.0, and then the Lord's Prayer. So here we go. Oh, one more thing. I know there's a lot of single women or single moms out there that, you know, I was married before. I had a family before. I uh, I died. Uh, I died. My soul died because my soulmate cut me off, and I died. It took a long time for me to recover. I've dated women after that, but nothing's the same. It's like the original movie, The Godfather. Godfather 1 was the best. Godfather. But what I'm saying is, my intent is, yeah, to spread the love of God. And that's my intent. And I'm trying to cast women on my music video, especially trying to get into the country music genre. I mean, all I'm just saying is that I need women to understand that, you know, I'm not a one woman guy. I'm a many woman guy, but I'm not a type of guy that's going to commit because as a professor, I have so much problems to solve. Research and having just one wife is a big problem. Having a spouse, it's a big problem. I think women need to look at helping their husband have many women, so that when they're not there to help those other women, they'll always be number one, but number two, number three women can relieve, so there's no conflict. But men cannot handle just being with one wife. That's why I'm just saying that my intent is not, you know, I've been to a one wife monogamy. That's monogamy, not the other word. But all I can say is I've been there. I've had, and I spent and made effort to make it work, but it didn't, and it doesn't, because it's not wrong. It's not right. It's not the way. Even in the Bible, um, you know, men or women, the Bible talks about the parable of the 10 virgins. If you are a person of abundance, you should be able to abundantly have an ability to take care of those that are with you. So it's important. If you're a woman that's abundant, you have every right to not be unhappy. Same thing with men. And for me, I've tried. I made an effort. The Catholic faith says one wife, and somebody modified that you should only have. But when the parable of Jesus says you can have, it's talk about a bridegroom and 10 virgins. It's Jesus is saying that you don't have to have one wife. You don't have to have one husband, but you have to coordinate. It's all over the Bible. All right, Israel had four, one wife, first wife, and then concubines. The ancient Thai king Siam, same thing in Hawaii, queens, they had. So it's not evil, it's not bad if Jesus even mentions it in a parable of the 10 virgins. So love is a many splendid thing. If you experience love, say you have a boyfriend or husband, that's your boyfriend, your husband. You love that. You know that's a standard love. But if you fall in love again with another man, but you're with your husband, you have to let your husband know that, hey, you fell in love. You still be his wife, but you fell in love with another guy. And you just gotta be truthful about it. So that way, oh, what a relief. The husband might not able to satisfy you, or not, has a priorities, and you as a woman want to be loved, want to be romanced. But if you divorce your husband for that man, the children get affected. Their parenting gets messed up. So think twice. And love is a many splendid thing. It's just how we human beings today love. So here we go. Love is a many splendid thing, like an April rose that only grows in the early spring. Love is nature's way of giving a reason to be living, the golden crown that makes a man a king or a woman a queen. Once on a high and windy hill, in the morning mist Two lovers kiss, and the world stood still. Then your fingers touch my silent heart and taught it how to see. Yes, true. Love's a many splendored thing. Love is a many splendored thing, like an early rose that only grows in the early spring. Love is nature's way of giving a reason to be living. The golden crown that makes a man a king, or a woman a queen. Once on a high and windy hill, in the morning mist, two lovers kiss, and the world stood still. Then your fingers touch my silent heart and taught it how to sing. Yes, true. Love's a many splendored thing. KLOVE.com. That is God's Loves Music. For me, it's not promiscuity. It's not being a player. It's just, there are just certain beautiful things that happen between souls. You know, the tongues of fire. My fire and your fire. If you want to spend time in that high windy hill in the morning, I'm open to it. I hope you're open to it. You just mentioned it to me. Hey, high windy hill in the morning, you and I. Just mention that. High on a high and windy hill, in the morning mist, two lovers kiss. But doesn't mean they're single and free, they're single or married. It just means that they're tongues of fire. They're fire inside them. You know, even if it's just one night or one morning, even if it's just a bump, you know, not a ship in the night, because you never think, but boom. I have yet to, with Althea, I have yet to bump to I'm just, all I'm saying is, I'm trying to tell the story from, you know, I want my sons, my nephews, men of my image, to have contracts the way NFL, NBA, men in sports, to have the same kind of contracts. You know, if if I have a white girl, I will have a son like Jason Momoa. If I had a black girl, I would have a son like what's his name, Kevin Hart. No, just kidding. Because Kevin Hart is short. Um, all I can say is, or John Legend. John Legend, you know, he's black Asian. You can tell from his eyes. Oh no, or the guy from Bruno Mars' drumming, Silk Sonic, the drummer. Yeah, he's black Asian. Um, all I can say is, I'm open to making babies, but I'm not gonna be there to be there like a. Like I said, I was married once. I was in you know, one woman only, and I could never do that again because it's it's wrong. It's not right. I mean, to people, there are, that standards of, they want to only find that one one partner in life. That's bullshit. That the I mean, it used to be like that, but people are there's just too much information and too much technology that cheaters can get busted. You can't lie. Don't cheat. Before, white male businessmen, they lie, they cheat. I mentioned the game of Monopoly. They cheated a woman who invented it. All I can say is cheating and stuff, everything is faster than Twitter. Oh, so love is a many splendid thing. If you fall in love, write about it. If you don't want to make it happen, if you don't want to go to that hill, on a windy hill, if you just imagine it and write about it, it becomes a song, it becomes a book, a love story. At least you know you could have done it, but you just want to write it. And like me, I know I could have done it, but I wrote it on a song. I wrote that song, "She Will Have to Come to Me," right? I wrote that a long time ago, way before I put Shailene Woodley on that little video. But I knew that there are so many in LA. There were so many beautiful actors all over the world. Wherever you go, I mean, you'll see women from all these. I guess the Beach Boys I wish they all could be California girls. They are in Hollywood. Every woman in the world are in Hollywood, Los Angeles. That's what I'm telling you. They're all pursuing the performing arts, whether it be the adult content or, the dramatic or action. They're in LA. They're learning the craft. They're learning to be in front of the camera, everything. And of course, Stanislaus County, they are here, but there are a lot of, but they don't have the performing arts. I mean, there's performing arts in LA, I mean, in here, but they're not serious about, doing a kissing scene or a pretend, acting. In LA, it's illusion. It's an illusion business. So the same thing here that I was trying to do, Stanislaus County. We make our own illusion business, and we try to tell the stories from our point of view and make it equity. Red, white, and blue cast. Good people, bad people. Red people, white people, blue people. Good cast, bad cast. The characters. That's what I meant. That's the standard for every content I make. That's what making a music video. When I put a country girl white, I need a country girl black. I need a country girl red. Red, yellow, brown. They're all here in Stanislaus County. The difficult part is, union. I don't want to be like Alec Baldwin's Rust production, where safety, and no consent happens. I disagree. I totally don't want any project that is not union. If you do a non-union, make sure safety is important, priority. Security and safety. Those are the two things when you make any music video, any short film. You look at the team's security and safety. That's the bottom line. If you're set, you're not safe, don't do it. Get out of there. All right. Alec Baldwin, legal hoopla, just trying to produce his story. Anyways. Okay. one of the things about the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, because I'm trying to reach out to Mexico and Philippines. All right, I gotta get going. This is my mom. I'll be there, Mom. Give me time. Give me one moment. Okay, I'll be there. Give me a moment. Bye. This is my mom. I gotta go, okay? But the U.S. Constitution is important, okay? The preamble is important in the Star-Spangled Banner national anthem. It adds, that lyric has to be added. I encourage every musician in Stanislaus County to start it with me and spread it out. So here we go. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, with the ramparts we watch was gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? ConstitutionUS.com. Preamble. With the people. All right, closing the circle again. Our Father, who art in heaven, holy is thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. All right, gotta go. Yeah, Mom, I'm on my way. Ah? Adap ka na, son. Welcome to our Friday Reds. Professor Benjamin Washington here. Hello, this is Professor Benjamin Washington. Copyrighted